Okay, one important thing that everybody asks or everybody wants to do is how to learn fast. And how do you retain that information so that you can use it and you can use it during the interviews or using when you are giving presentation. So how do you learn fast and retain the information? So there are two parts as we always talk about. One is about mindset. So mindset is a bigger part, very big part of it, right? If our mind is not focused, it's not constant, if we cannot give our 100% mind-wise and body and mind in the and your full attention to what you're learning, obviously you're not going to learn fast. So how do we do that? The first thing is to first notice is our emotions. See, when you are trying to learn something new, say for example, you're taking some AI course, it may be online training, it could be book you are reading, or you might be sitting in a class. Now, and that when you are doing that, at that time, if your emotions are you're engulfed in the emotions, then it's a big problem. Emotions are like wild horse. They will take you wherever that wild horse is going. So you are sitting in a class, but if you have the strong emotions in your mind in that moment, then it's going to be trouble and it's going to be problematic thing. So notice if when you start any study a session, are you engulfed in any emotion at that time? It could be some kind of stress, maybe stress of interview coming up, or maybe you had fight with your boss or with your spouse or kids or anything, or somebody said something to you, or somebody in the world said something and you're disturbed and very angry or sad about some situation. So if you're experiencing those emotions, the first we need to work on those. And then how we work on those is by having emotion coffee with emotions. We have a separate training on it. I call it a processing your emotions. If you say, okay, I need to get rid of these emotions and emotion shouldn't come, then they will persist and they will keep bothering you throughout your learning process. And so take your time to process those emotions, and if you do it more often, it will become a lot easier for you to overcome this emotion. Because if your emotions are there, then you won't see the things. For example, if the lake is placid lake is clear, then if you put even a small pebble in it, you will see the ripple. But if there are lots of waves going on, even if you put a big rock, then you won't see the ripple. Same thing here, if you have lots of emotions going on in your head, in your body at that moment, then it becomes hard to understand and see those ripples that this training or learning is going to give you. So that's the first thing of it. Second is about focus and concentration. Now, what is focus? Now, you must have noticed, right? Especially if the speaker of that training or the book is whatever is boring, then our mind wanders, or even if that person is very engaging, if that person cracks some joke while presentation, your mind goes somewhere else, and then you start thinking something or you get distracted. So forget about the distraction of your phone and this thing. Those are external distraction, but your mind itself is wandering all the time. So the main thing that we need to practice, the upgrade our brain, is to be able to focus, and that's where the mindfulness practice comes in. So if you invest your time every day, say 5 minutes at least, even 5 minutes can work, focusing on your breath, forcing your not forcing, inviting your mind to come to your breath and being aware. So awareness is the key. When you are learning something, some teacher is teaching you, you're watching some video, reading some book, but if your mind is wandering and you are not aware of it, then how would you fix it? So first thing is being aware of it. So that's what the mindfulness does, that being aware. Oh, my mind has wandered. Oh, I started thinking about cake that I'm gonna bake in the evening. Just notice that, be aware of it, and gently bring attention to your breath. So having that constant practice every day, just for even 5 minutes, you can of course join morning call or listen to the recording that we have. And then you will start noticing you get habituated to focus on the task at your hand. In your meditation, the task at your hand is your breathing. And same habit gets developed when you are learning something. You will notice that if the mind wandering, you'll be able to quickly catch, oh, my mind is wandering somewhere else. Let me listen to what this speaker is saying. And then concentration is about keeping that focus for as long as you can. And that's where again this mindfulness comes in picture. Step one is to bring focus to your being aware of the mind wandering and bringing to your breath. And concentration is doing it over a prolonged time. Mind will wander, bring it back again. And how long you can keep that mind on your breath. If you want, you can get competitive and count. Oh, I can count 3 of 10 breaths. Now I can count 15 breaths. It takes me 15 breaths before mind wanders. So you could do that practice in your mindfulness to increase your focus and concentration. And this is scientifically demonstrated. I won't say proven. It's a demonstrated that mindfulness does increase the capacity of our brain. There are certain neurons, the number of neurons increase, the connection between neurons increase, and it becomes stronger and stronger. It's just a habit of focusing. So that's just two things, like having settling your mind, making calmer, emotionally calm. And second is building your focus and concentration. So those are to the techniques to, I will say, a mindset to create, and I won't call it mindset, it's more of a hardware of your brain to help your brain to prepare it to grasp information faster and retain it. And then second is about thinking about this learning process differently. What I mean differently is, I will say, thinking about this learning process as a empowering moment for you. Now, many times we learn some things because you have to, in the sense like, oh, I have to give interviews, so I have to learn this. Oh, in the office we have this new project coming and this is the tool, this is the technology, now I have to learn this thing. When you say that have to, if you are forcing yourself, it becomes compulsory. Then you need the extra efforts to align your mind, because it's a forceful, right? You have to do it, somebody else is telling you. If you don't do it, it'll be problems. So that's a negative energy. So instead of that, just think about it in your life. There are times, or now also, there are some topics, some subjects, some certain things that you are learning all the time, and those are, you don't feel like forcing yourself. You just love it. You are in the flow and you just do it. And why we do that? Because you are learning that thing just for the sake of it. What do I mean by that? It's you are not doing to get something for you. It's more of like, I just want to know. For example, if you are fond of cooking, then you just want to know what different kind of recipes are there. Or if you are like you're playing cricket, you just want to know the different types of stroke or different type of bowling. So all those things are, you just because you love it, you're so passionate about it. We can always develop that passion by just seeing the bigger picture. What this knowledge or what this technology is bringing to the world, and how it is making an impact. If you think in that way, then you get excited. Now, especially if you are working on AI or ML or any technology, latest technology, it's so exciting. It's super exciting. You're not learning AI to get the job. Of course you are, but keep that aside. You are learning AI because it's fascinating. It's obviously it is fascinating. It's changing the world every single moment. People are spending tons of money. We can see ChatGPT. Just get out, get inspired, get excited, because it is exciting. See that excitement in it. And once you start noticing that, then the learning becomes effortless, because you want to know. It's so cool. It's so awesome. And finding those what impact it is creating on beyond you. What is it happening beyond you? And then when we think beyond us, then that flow comes in. Now, same like cooking, right? So for recipe, if you are cooking just for yourself, you're not going to take too much effort. But if you are cooking for other people like it, then you're going to be very much more excited. So think about all those things, how it's going to make a difference on other people's life. Oh my God, this, yeah, you can do this, you can do this, it can do this. It is changing the world like this. It is making people's life easier this way. So think about all the amazing things that that particular thing that you're learning is doing. And once you do that, you will start noticing you are in the flow, and that you're not forcing, you're just doing this for the sake of it. That's one. That's the mindset you can take it. Now let's then this is the mindset, all sort of stuff, but you might wonder what are the techniques. So some of the techniques you might know, but let's reiterate and think through how they have been help you. So if there's some techniques are new for you, definitely take it, start using them. And if you know those techniques, just remind yourself how you are using it, because then you can start using it more often, or you can think of making this better. So first thing is about, 101 is the distractions, right? So get rid of external distraction. We always talk about it, phone, turn off the phone, and especially keep it in different rooms so it's totally away from you. If possible, turn off internet on your computer and then use the iPad where you have only one thing going on if you are on the online course, or if it is a video that you can download. So just focus. And other thing is like what I found works is creating an environment, one very specific place. And maybe if it helps, it can have a nice ambience, and if it helps, it can be nice aromatherapy. You can put or some good lighting and all sort of stuff. Create an environment, inviting environment where you feel like going, whatever that means to you. I know it could be small background music going on, comfortable. And my invitation is to see if you can stand up. I always like to stand up. I have this standing up desk, and if you are standing up, it's hard for you to sleep, right? You feel energetic. Right now as I'm standing, you feel energetic, and there is a fun in standing. Creating that distraction free environment, helping yourself. We underestimate the power of the environment that we have. We can have all this mindset, all sort of discipline and motivation, but if the environment is not conducive, it's going to create a problem. So see how you can make that environment for yourself. Second simple technique is whenever you are listening, learning something, have a pen and paper. Like I always have pen and paper in front of me. You must have noticed there is a tremendous magic, or there is a tremendous impact of having that physical pain and writing on a paper about it. First of all, it's forces your body. You're doing something with your body, and when you are doing something with your body, your mind is obviously there, right? Because if you have to write something, what do you have to do? Your brain and mind has to tell your hand to write something. So it forces, or it not forces, it kind of forces, but it makes your mind to be present because you are writing. If you're not writing, you can be wandering somewhere else. And that's the beauty of our mind. It can be thinking multiple things at the same time. But when you are writing, that focus changes. Focus comes to the paper. And there are multiple things happen. One is you are listening, and when you're taking notes, you are writing something, so your eyes are working too. Your eyes also focused on what you're writing. Otherwise, you might be looking something outside of the window, and some person is walking. There you go, your concentration and focus is gone. But if you are writing something, you are there. You're in what that person is saying. So there's a tremendous impact of having that focus and concentration if you start taking notes. And obviously, taking notes has multiple benefits. First of all, what you write exists. If you have the notes, you can always go back to them, you can refer to it, and you also get that sense of accomplishment. Oh my God, look at this. I have these notes. I took like 10 pages note in 1 hour. So you have something for yourself to show that you achieved something. Otherwise, it's all in your head. Like, did I really understand? No, you did. You can show, you have the proof for yourself. And we always need that proof. For one of the technique that I call is to finding the immediate pleasure of doing certain things. So you get that immediate pleasure of just looking at the notes. Oh my God, look at that. I got 10 pages of notes, and you feel good about this experience. And then when you feel good about something, you feel more engaged, and you feel in the flow, and that helps to retain. And of course, taking notes, next time you don't have to go through the whole lecture of 2 hours, right? So you just have the notes, and then you can remember things very quickly. You can retain this thing very fast. And that's how the brain works. Our brain is not computer. In computer, you store it, it's stored exactly the way it is, and you can retrieve exactly with the way it is. But our brain is not like that. If you store something in our brain, we forget, the memory goes away. And then if you want to make that memory permanent, right? So you have studied all the college and schools, and now also you have to revisit, retrain, remember, remind yourself again and again and again, so that uh, memory becomes a permanent memory. Now you don't have luxury of going over again 2 hours, of course, one more time, but this taking notes makes a huge difference, because those are the pointers, and you remember the things. And since it is in your own handwriting, since it is in your own words, it resonates more. It's because they are your word, and we love our word, we love our ideas. And that becomes, when you go through your notes, it becomes a lot easier for your brain to regain or retain that information. And obviously, you have done this in your life. So remember those times when you are done, and how powerful that was. And if you haven't done it, give it a try in your time. It's unlikely that you are not done it. We all take notes. But I would invite you to take a conscious efforts to start taking as much notes as possible. And it's not just for the learning any new thing, it's for the meetings also. We always talk about executive presence. Once you have the notes, it creates a tremendous amount of confidence in yourself that I've written it. One thing, what happens if you write it down? Just notice, this thing, you would notice this thing next time when you write it, or just go back, and you will realize when you write it down, your mind is free, because you don't need to remember those things. Your mind is like settle. Oh, I can go back and read my notes. Let me hear to the next thing. Now, if you don't write it, then what happens is, like, you are trying to make sure that you remember earlier things. But if you have taken the notes, your mind is free to learn the next thing. And that's how you start learning faster, because your mind is not going back and forth. Your mind is comforted, or brain is comforting, has that comforting thought that I've written it down. Okay, what's the next thing, what's the next thing, what's the next thing. So we can comfortably move on, rather than going back and forth. And if you need, you can always, it's right in front of you. You can remember. You don't need to remember, it's written. So that's the big benefit of taking notes. Notice that, when you did the note, this must have happened to you. So there's a tremendous power in taking notes. Now, how we use the note, there are two ways of doing it. One now, because of the technology, we have a powerful way of doing it. When school and college days, there was no technology available, but now we have one big technology is our phone. And I used to do, now also I use the pen and paper and go back and read those notes over and over again to remind myself. But there's another form of retaining information, is that just record, record those notes, just no, listen, or just the point, like for AI, different type of AI and benefits of AI, whatever notes you have taken, just read them out loud and record on your phone. And then whenever you get a chance, just listen to it. Sometimes instead of listening to some music or something, just put it on. And then you don't have to read or anything. You are dropping your son to soccer class or whatever you're doing, just listen to it. And that's a different sense. There is a different neurological path that gets activated when you're listening versus reading. So that's another form, and that's something that you don't need extra time on. You can just listen to it while on the thing. And again, these are your notes, your voice. and we like our notes. We like our own voice, and that resonates much better in your brain, and you will start noticing that that learning becomes even faster and retaining the information becomes faster. So that's how you can. Another thing I like to do is sometimes I'll just put it now before going to the bed, and maybe I don't have proof, or I don't have any specific thing about it, but if you notice, if you read about sleep, there is a step state before going to bed. When you drift towards sleep, our mind is much more active, and you can give the auto suggestion and self hypnosis kind of stuff. So you can listen to it when you go to bed, and drift to it. So you could do. I do that sometimes. So those are many ways you can start using those notes. Now, another super powerful thing, if you really want to make this information that you have learned, now you have learned faster, you have focus, you've got all these notes and everything. Now there are two things that can even take this retaining part of through the roof. And the one thing is to teaching others. When so just think about it, when you have to teach something for other people, your brain has to go through tons of extra efforts. Now, if I ask you, like, what did you learn about the AI today? Now, what you have to do, you have to go back in your memory, bring it up and analyze it, and then figure out how to articulate it, and then say it out loud. So all this, whatever learning that you have done, it gets just literally in your brain is getting circulated on all the senses, because your memory, and then your listening, and you are to speak, and all sort of body language or body movement starts happening if you are teaching someone. And that person is going to ask you questions, right? When you teach someone, that forces you to figure out answers. And when you're forcing yourself, when you have to find the answer, you learn much more faster. They say, right, if you lost the key, when you're trying to find a key, you will find so many other things that were lost before. So when you're searching for the answer, you would end up finding lots of answers for yourself too. And the last piece is about implementation. Most of us, you might vouch to it, that we learn by doing. And when you are implementing and you're using the knowledge, you will learn like 100 times faster, or retain that information 100 times faster. And so as far as when it comes to technology, see how you can use it. It could be downloading some software and then creating some prototype or POC, or there might be some programs or that may be available, going through it, tweaking to it, running them and see how they work, whatever it works, or in terms of AI, creating something, using your knowledge to create something tangible. When you put our knowledge to the use, first of all, again, the same thing happens when you're teaching, but it's even at a high level, because you have to use it. And it works sometime, it doesn't work sometimes. So you are struggling, and in that struggle, now you learn much more faster. And second thing, obviously, you feel great about using it, and you have something to demonstrate, you have something to talk about. And that's the biggest challenge that we feel most of the time, right? About if you're learning some different technology. Oh, I haven't used it yet, so I don't have experience. I just learned. I did the course. But no, if you are doing some kind of POC, some kind of getting your hands dirty and creating something out of it, and then you have something to prove yourself. No, I used it. I know how to do it, and you can show and you can talk about it when you are talking about in interviews and all those things. And you have the confidence. They have the confidence, because it's not just a theoretical knowledge. You are actually worked on it. And speaking of working on it, because of internet, we have tons of ways of doing it. I know. So right, there are open source thing going on, or there are many sites. For example, leadcode.com. They will give you examples. You have to solve the puzzles and solve the problems. So there is many ways of actually doing it. So the summarize to all these things, two part of it. One is a mindfulness, your mindset, building, managing your emotions, having coffee with them, calming your emotions, making sure your mind is calm and collected, and improving your focus and concentration. You using the mindfulness techniques of bringing attention to breath in your body anytime you feel mind wandering, and getting excited about what you're learning just for the sake of it. How big impact this knowledge or this technology is bringing to the world, what is changing beyond me. When we do something about beyond us, then it becomes very exciting. And technique wise, first of all, create an environment, distraction-free environment, conducive environment, the place where you feel like going, where you feel like rejuvenated, and then start taking notes. I would recommend using pen and paper because it has tons of benefits of it. Record in your voice, listen to it, revisit it, so that you don't have to read the whole book, and teach others. And finally, make use of it. Put something in the use, create something out of it, and you will see fascinating things happening. So that's the techniques that mindset and technique about how to retain, how to learn fast and retain information faster.